All right, day 3 here at Origins 2019, Columbus, Ohio. I am currently back in the expo hall floor, and I'm here with Tim Virnig, brand ambassador for Thunderworks Games. Tim, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Ryan. I appreciate it. Glad to be here. Day 3. I'm barely hanging on, but I'm excited to talk to you.
Thank you. Yes, this has been a long time planning. We've been kind of tweeting at each other over the last couple of weeks and getting to know each other.
Yeah.
And so I am so glad to be able to talk to you guys about Thunderworks, what you guys all have to offer. So Tim, how did you come about Thunderworks Games and just your role and what has been happening with Thunderworks?
So we're in Madison, Wisconsin, and though Wisconsin is a kind of a godforsaken cold state, but believe it or not, we're a hotbed of designers. So we've got Kane Klenko, and then of course Keith Mateka, who's the founder and designer of the Thunderworks games. And I have known Keith for a couple of years, loved his games, loved Role Player. And we play together a lot. And he just said, hey, Tim, I know you love demoing games. I know you love promoting them and talking about and sharing the love of them. He said, why don't you just come on board and do that for me, travel around to stores in the state and show off our games and teach games to people. And, of course, at cons like Origins, really a chance to do that and to talk with you and your listeners. So
what a great opportunity, and I know you absolutely love it. And you can, and obviously we can all tell. So that's awesome. Where do they find? So I know like the biggest thing. Just a very quick sidebar. Where can they find you at social media? Because that's like the best way I know that you like to talk to the community about, right?
So my on Twitter is where I'm most active, and it's Tim _ Virnig. That's V as in Victor, IRNIG. Tim _ Virnig on social media. But then, of course, we have Thunderworks Games has their own Twitter account and Instagram, Facebook. So you can find Thunderworks Games on all the usual social media platforms.
Yes, very good. I know it was a quick sidebar. Let's get back into it here, though. So, Role Player.
Yes.
Role Player, a huge hit for Thunderworks Games. Tell us, for those listeners who haven't played Role Player, what exactly is Role Player?
Yeah, so Keith wanted to design a game that really touched that part about role-playing games that everybody loves, rolling up a character. So he created a game that will be that part, the rolling of the character, but it's a game, so it's more than just making your D&D character. It's a puzzle game. It's dice allocation. So you roll dice, you put it in your attributes character card, and you're creating your character, your orc or your human or your elf or your wizard, and you're trying to match scoring conditions. So you're trying to get the dice to add up in your attribute rows to a certain number. So maybe you want your strength to be 14 exactly when you add up that strength roll, or your intelligence to be 12 or under. If you know, we have a Minotaur card that scores low, so because he's dumb as an ox. So if you get under 8, you get extra points for that. Also trying to put the colored dice, because it's a bag full of a ton of different colored dice in the game. Trying to get the colored dice in certain locations and going to a market and buying stuff. So it's all that. It really like touches that part about what we love about those RPGs, you know. You kind of create that story about your character.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you do also have an expansion out right now for Role Player.
Right. So we have the Monsters and Minions expansion already. The Monsters and Minions expansion, which is great about the way that Keith designs the expansions. They do not add more time to the game. They simply add more choices. So the game can still be 45 minutes to an hour with the full player count of 4 with the base game. The Monsters and Minions expansion adds a 5th player option. But it also adds another thing, which people were clamoring for. They said, we love rolling up the character. We love the puzzle part of it. But gosh, wouldn't it be great if we could go out and kill some monsters, right? That's so much satisfying when you can kill monsters. So the expansion has some minions, and you fight the minions. If you beat a minion, you get to look at some secret information, which will tell you the vulnerabilities of the big boss monster, which you can see at the end of the game when you fill up your whole grid. Then you have the option to buy combat dice and then roll to try to beat the big monster. Depending on how well you do, you get points for it. If you do really well and roll really high, you get a lot of points. If you roll okay, you get some points. So it's really a balance between, do you want to go for your points for your character card, or do you want to fight the monster?
Very awesome, very awesome. Not to say that is the last expansion, because there is one upcoming that I'm aware of. One more expansion, and I hear it's really awesome.
Yeah.
Tell us about what this expansion is for role players.
So it's going to hit Kickstarter June 25th. We're going to start the campaign. It's called Fiends and Familiars, and again, another expansion that does not add any additional time to the game, but just more options. So you're going to get a familiar, and we all love it when your character has a familiar.
Yep.
So we put a little homage. One of the familiars I just wanted to share quick is Blood Badger. So we're from Madison, Wisconsin, home of University of Wisconsin, Madison. Our football team mascot is Badgers, UW Badgers. So we put in the Blood Badger, just one of the familiars.
What a great homage to the state of Wisconsin.
Hey, we got to represent. Yeah.
Dude, that sounds awesome.
Yeah. So and then we're also going to have some split die in the bag. So there's going to be some extra die. They're low numbers, but they have 2 colors, so you can choose to take those. It could be one of 2 colors, and it just adds more things. Fiends, which are part of the initiative card. So when you buy a die, you may have to take a fiend with it. So there's going to be a trade-off. You might really like that die, but you're going to have to take the fiend with it. The fiend attaches on, follows you around, bothers you, gives you negative things, but you can get rid of it. And here's the thing. We're going to be using charisma as the dump stat. In order to get rid of a fiend, you can get rid of a charisma die and banish the fiend. So you get ugly and chase away your fiends.
Awesome.
So that'll be hitting Kickstarter on the 25th of June.
Very cool, very cool. So there are a lot of other games as well that Thunderworks have within the role player universe.
Yes.
One of which I think I'm really jazzed for, and it's been very popular as far as the mechanic, is Roll and Write. Cartographers is that game that you guys have. So tell us about what Cartographers is.
So Cartographers is actually not a true roll and write. It's what we call a flip and write. There are no dice in it, which is amazing because, of course, role player, we love the dice.
Yes.
But Cartographers is a flip and write, which means it has a very, very small footprint. You can play it with people just sitting in a row on an airplane on your tray tables. It doesn't take up any space. All you need is the sheet to draw on, pencils, and then there's a small amount of cards. And basically you're just going to go through 4 different seasons: spring, summer, winter, autumn, and winter. There's different scoring for each season. Flip over a card. It has different terrain options on it and different configurations, shapes that you then have to fill in to try to meet the scoring things. It's part of the role player universe, so it has the same artists, same graphic design and fonts, so people will like it if they like role player, but they don't have to.
Sure.
It may be just a great family game, and it'll play as many pencils and sheets of paper. You can play with that many players.
That's great. That's perfect.
Yeah. And then we also have Lockup, which is also in the role player universe. That is a worker placement bidding game where now instead of playing the heroes like you do in role player, you are playing the fiends, capturing the heroes, locking them up into prison, and you're trying to collect resources to try to get points to keep them in prison. So.
Yeah, wow, that sounds awesome. So for both Cartographers and Lockup, are those out for release yet? Are they coming out? What's the plan for those?
So Cartographers and Lockup we're going to have at Gen Con. So the Cartographers is available for pre-order on our website, thunderworksgames.com. And if you order online, you can pick it up for free at Gen Con, or we'll ship it out then. And it'll hit retail in probably October or something like that.
Very awesome. So very soon.
Very soon,
Very soon. Very cool. So I want to wrap this up, and I want to wrap this with what I think is my personal favorite item and game that you have at the convention, Dual Powers Revolution 1917.
Yeah.
Briefly, I know we're coming up here, but talk to us about this gorgeous looking game.
Yeah. So it's a 2-player head-to-head tug-of-war type game, and this is not a perfect example of, but a comparison some people have given it. They're calling it Twilight Struggle Light.
Yeah.
It is a historical game. The art is by Kwanchai Moria, so beautiful, beautiful kind of Soviet propaganda style artwork. And it's card-based, so you play a card, you can place your people on different regions of the map to try to get majority for that. Then you get points for scoring that majority. It goes through a calendar When we hit the October Revolution, whoever has the scoring token on their side of the board, because it's moving back and forth from one side to the other, tug-of-war style, and wherever has the majority gets it. People who love the history of the game, of the Revolution, are going to love it. But even if you don't, it's a great introduction to that sort of head-to-head two-player.
I'm a huge fan of Twilight Struggle, so when I'm seeing this and how great it looks, it was something that I worked out with you to be able to purchase my copy finally. I passed up on it a couple of times, and I'm now finally glad I own it. So
people look at it and think it's too heavy, and maybe they aren't that interested in the historical theme, but it is a great two-player game. So that's a market a lot of people are really looking for, games that they can just play with another person head-to-head, and it's fun, and it's only about 45 minutes, so it's not going to take you all day to play it.
Yeah, it's not going to be Twilight Struggle length.
Exactly.
That's great. So, Tim, you have a lot of great stuff. Thank you so much for being on the show and talking about it all. Do you have any final words, any parting thoughts that you want to be able to tell our listeners?
Ryan, I'd just like to say thanks for coming and talking to me. Like I said, it's been such a joy to get to know you online and really be a part of Rolling Doubles, and I want to just tell people, continue to support you and the stuff you're doing. It's awesome. Thanks so much, and thanks for coming and talking to us about our games.
Tim, we really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Very cool.